Now let's get another check of that forecast with our chief meteorologist, Dan Cianca. Dan, we've been seeing a lot of roads that look like that from even Santa Cruz County with big sinkholes and lots of slides happening in our area too.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of water in the ground right now. It's just something we're going to have to keep an eye out. Even once the rain stops here over the next week or so, we'll still have a lot of water in the ground. Things are going to be moving. They're going to be sliding still as this water kind of settles in. So it's a good reminder to be careful on the roads out there. Just be aware of everything. And like, speaking of being careful on the road, take a look at this video from Morgan Hill today showing flooding there in Morgan Hill. This sent in by Matthew Burdick. And we're seeing here a vehicle driving through the floodwaters. We tell you not to do that all the time. You just don't know how deep that water is. You don't know if there's a sinkhole or something underneath it that's flooded. It just shouldn't. You really just shouldn't tempt fate like that. So be careful out there on the roadways. Again, a lot of rain falling in the Santa Clara Valley today, too. We saw a couple inches in places like Gilroy, Morgan Hill. Santa Cruz Mountains saw a considerable amount of rainfall. The Santa Lucias saw a considerable amount of rainfall as well. And as we take a live look now, Domenico's on the wharf, we can see at least it's not raining in Monterey at the moment. We still have a few lingering showers out there tonight, but ultimately we're starting to calm down a bit tonight. And let's take a look at some two-day rainfall totals. These are just a few select ones I put together for you. Boulder Creek, just shy of 6 inches in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And most locations in the Santa Cruz Mountains got between 3 and 6 inches of rain over the last 2 days together. So that's a lot of water. We saw flooding on the San Lorenzo River today. We saw flooding in a lot of the creeks and streams across the mountains, especially late this morning and early this afternoon as the heavy rain that came this morning worked its way down into the lower elevations. It just seems like we've had 3 or 4 rounds of this over the last couple of weeks. The good news is I think we're getting pretty close to being done with it. We have one more chance of flooding, it looks like, late tomorrow into Monday, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. Santa Cruz, Watsonville, just shy of 2 inches of rain. On a normal day, not a big deal, but with the ground as wet as it is, and the ground is wet right now. I know we're still technically in a drought because there are a lot of things that go into drought, which includes reservoir levels, which includes groundwater, which is well below the water that's falling right now. We're talking like our deeper aquifers. That does go into drought as well. But I've been looking at some of the numbers, and I don't have anything to share with you just yet, but we will be talking about these things in the coming days. Many locations on the Central Coast, our climate sites, are showing rainfall so far this rain season in the top 2 or 3 wettest years on record so far. So if you've thought to yourself, boy, it seems awful rainy this year, I mean, we're getting up there close to 97, 98, 94, 95, 2017, 2018. That was another wet winter for us. So yeah, we've got a lot of rain that has fallen, and luckily a break coming soon because we don't want to add too much more to these totals that we're seeing out there. Here's that break I'm talking about. Well, we'll show you in a moment here. The big picture showing the next weather system slamming in late tomorrow into Monday morning. Then it's out of here with a few lingering showers Monday into Tuesday. And that's that with that. And then one more weak system tries to move through late Wednesday into Thursday. That's going to move through pretty quickly. And then things start to change. This weather pattern that we've been in for the last month or two has been very El Nino-like. Now, what I mean by that is usually during El Nino, well, sometimes during El Nino, more often than not, I guess, we get a jet stream that just comes straight across the ocean. You don't see these big ridges and troughs like this. And that just allows weather systems to keep coming in. We say the storm door is open, and it stays open for some time. Now, typically during La Nina, which is what we are in right now, and what we have been over the last couple of years, we see one of these bad boys, a ridge of high pressure that just kind of sets up here along the west coast, and it blocks storm systems off to the north, like it looks like it's going to start doing by the end of the week. So here's Sunday, big tall ridge. Here's the next storm system. That door is closed, not headed toward the coast, heading up toward Alaska, maybe up all the way into British Columbia. And it looks like this ridge is going to hang out for a week, maybe 2, maybe more, as this weather pattern changes a bit for us, giving us a time to dry out. So we're watching that for you. Probably some good news because while we have been asking for the rain for quite some time, I think most people are ready to see it go away for a while. I don't know. I'm not in your mind, but that's my guess. We do still have some hazards to talk about, though. Coastal flood advisory until Monday morning. We have a lot of runoff. A lot of the rain is still headed toward the coast. On top of that, high tides, high swells still coming in. All of that meeting right along the coast. Yeah, that's a recipe for some coastal flooding, so be careful along the bike paths and those low areas near the coast for the next couple days. New gale warning goes into effect tomorrow afternoon at 3 and then lasts until Monday morning, so gusty winds and high seas out there making conditions hazardous for mariners. How about that next system? Let's get into it with you. We're going to stay partly cloudy overnight. You'll probably see the moon at times, but we'll also have a few showers moving through still through the overnight. Can't even rule out a little small hail. Can't even rule out another bolt of lightning. We'll still see a few showers, I think, through the overnight into tomorrow. Now, what we're also going to see is tomorrow, that next weather system approaching, it will start bringing some light to moderate rain into the region as we head into tomorrow evening. And again, that'll focus up over our coastal mountains and could get heavy at times once again. The flooding threat is lower than it was today, but there is still a chance we could still see some minor flooding, depending on how fast this thing moves through and where it really ends up. If it focuses over some of our mountains, we could be talking about some increased river levels again. So we're watching that closely. Right now, it looks like it's going to start clearing out, though, by late Monday morning, and then outside of a few lingering showers after that, looks pretty clear for the rest of the week outside of a couple, again, weak showers. So here's a look at some futurecasts. This is the latest rainfall totals, looking a little quieter across Santa Cruz County and maybe a couple inches in our southern mountains with this next system. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye on it. I'll be here tomorrow, so make sure to tune into my weathercast at 5, 10, and 11. Quick look at your temperature forecast tomorrow. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. It is not going to be warm. Highs only in the mid-50s in many cases. Santa Cruz, 54. Same in Watsonville tomorrow, 55s. The double nickel in Salinas and Hollister. And that speed limit that a lot of people didn't like back in the, what was that, the 70s? Yeah, the 70s when the gas conveyor was like, oh, we're only driving 55 now. People are like, I don't like that. 55 in Monterey tomorrow. We're keeping with the trend. Same in Seaside. And then down south, we'll see high temperatures in the mid-50s. You know, when I got my driver's license in Montana in the mid-90s, we had a speed limit called reasonable and prudent. There was no speed limit on the interstate. Ever since then, I've just felt constrained. Here's that 7-day forecast. I promised you some drier weather. We're going to get there eventually. It tapers off. Isolated showers Tuesday. That means not very much. Then one more weak system Wednesday into Thursday. We're dry into next weekend, maybe even a little warmer as well. Inland areas as well. Still a little stormy Monday. Again, that's going to be mostly early in the day, though. Isolated showers Tuesday. Few showers late Wednesday into Thursday. Finally, looks like a time to dry out. Anna.
All right, thanks so much for that, Dan.